responsibility. First,
Against.
against social responsibility. Point number 1, profit maximization principle. Profit maximization principle gets violated. Gets violated. Profit maximization principle gets violated if we focus too much on social aspect. If we focus too much on social aspect, businessmen, a section of businessmen rather, a section of businessmen feel that through maximizing profit, and by reducing cost, they will be able to serve society. They will be able to serve society in a better way. In a better way. Point number 2. The next point goes like this. Burden on consumers. Burden on consumers. A businessman may have to install very costly devices.
Nowadays, the it is
Yes,
also
say.
used in companies, ma'am, like
Huh?
washing hands in sanitizer.
Yes, of course. So ultimately they will add to the cost. अभी आप लोग न्यूज़ पढ़ते जरूर होंगे एज अ विजिलेंट सिटीजन. कई आईटी कंपनीज अपना जो फिक्स कॉस्ट है उसको कम करने के लिए जो रियल इस्टेट में मतलब रियल इस्टेट बिल्डिंग जमीन इसमें जो इन्वेस्टमेंट किया उससे हाथ पीछे हटा रही है. नेचुरली यू हैव टू थिंक लाइक दैट बिकॉज इकोनॉमिक्स के सिद्धांत तो हर जगह वर्क करेंगे और सेम सिद्धांत ही वर्क करेगा ना. So you have to be cautious about your cost structure. Okay, what did I say? Burden on consumers. That is all, no?
Yes, ma'am.
If a company is installing costly devices, it will ultimately cover the expenses cover the expenses by raising the price of the product, by raising the price of the product which he sells to the consumer,
Point six, yeah.
which he sells to the consumer. So the consumer has to bear the burden, in the ultimate analysis. Now let us discuss few more. First of all, social responsibility is something else. And understanding cost, understanding profit,
मैम हैश के
understanding
बाद
balance sheet is something else. है ना? नॉलेज के तो ये सारे ब्रांचेस हैं. अगर सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और बहुत ज्यादा जैसे सोशल एक्टिविस्ट के रूप में आपको कार्य करना है, तो आपका जो ज्ञान का क्षेत्र है वो अलग हो जाता है. जैसे बहुत सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज MSW कोर्स ऑफर करती हैं, मास्टर इन सोशल वर्क. तो उन सब कोर्सेज को अगर हम करें, हमारी रुचि है, तो इन कोर्सेज को अगर MSW के हम ग्रेजुएट या पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डिग्री हासिल करें, तो आई विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स इन अ बेटर वे. तो फिर हम सोशल एक्टिविस्ट के रूप में ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल होंगे. तो एक ग्रुप ऑफ बिजनेसमैन का कहना है कि हमारे पास वो सामाजिक समस्याओं को समझने सुलझाने की दक्षता नहीं है. हम तो इकोनॉमिक एंटिटी हैं, इसलिए ये बहुत सारे और दायित्व क्यों. एंड लास्ट ऑफ ऑल, ब्रॉड पब्लिक सपोर्ट भी हो सकता है कि बिजनेसमैन को नहीं मिले, परंतु ये एक सेक्शन ऑफ बिजनेसमैन की ही ऐसी सोच है कि मे बी अगर वो बहुत सारा सामाजिक दायित्व उठाने लगेंगे, तो पब्लिक उनकी एबिलिटी पे भी डाउट कर सकती है, क्योंकि उनका काम है गुड्स और सर्विसेज का निर्माण करना. और इसीलिए मे बी पब्लिक उनको इतना ज्यादा उनके एक्टिविटी में फेथ नहीं कर पाए. The public may repose so much of faith in their activity, क्योंकि पब्लिक भी जान रही है कि ये बिजनेसमैन है. अब ये बिजनेसमैन है तो ये तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करेंगे, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को, क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स को लाएंगे तो ही बेहतर है. सामाजिक समस्याओं को वो कितना समझ पाएंगे, ये नहीं समझ ये पब्लिक समझ सकती है कि बिजनेसमैन में माइट नॉट हैव दैट ability to understand the social issues. The public support भी कम मिल जाता है. So write down the last one. Lack of social skills, lack of social skills, and so lack of public support. Lack of social skills, and so lack of public support in a broad sense. Lack of social skills and lack of public support in the broader sense होना चाहिए. Now please note down. Businessmen are not social activists, are not social activists. They do not possess the required degrees in social work as well. They do not possess the required degrees in social work as well. As a result, as a result, they are not trained enough. They are not trained enough to tackle social problems. They are not trained enough to tackle social problems. I am audible to you. मेरी आवाज सबको सुनाई दे रही है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here. They are not trained enough to tackle social problems. Hence, it may so happen, it may so happen that the public also, that the public also may not support, may not support them, may not support them in case, in case when businessmen, when businessmen involve themselves, involves themselves too much in social issues, too much in social issues. One sentence we need to add. However, however, as a norm, norm मतलब आदर्श वैल्यू कह सकते हैं. However, as a norm, social responsibility ought to be practiced. OUGHT. However, as a norm, social responsibility ought to be practiced. ओके तो अभी तक हम लोग इस पर्टिकुलर क्लास में यही प्रोग्रेस किए कि हम लोगों ने समझा कि एक ग्रुप ऑफ इकोनॉमिस्ट भी हैं, एक ग्रुप ऑफ मैनेजमेंट एक्सपर्ट्स एज वेल एज अ ग्रुप ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट क्लास हैं जो कि ये ओपिनियन रखते हैं कि बिजनेस का काम है बिजनेस करना, बिजनेस का काम है गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को प्रोवाइड करना, और इसीलिए उन्हें सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में ज्यादा या कहिए सोशल एस्पेक्ट विल बी द बेटर वर्ड, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तो निभानी ही होगी पर सोशल एस्पेक्ट में बहुत ज्यादा इन्वॉल्व ना हो. परंतु दिस इज highlight, highlight or discuss, discuss the pragmatic approach, the pragmatic approach towards social responsibility. Discuss the pragmatic approach towards social responsibility. Highlighting the factors, highlighting the factors behind them. मतलब कहने का अर्थ है कि pragmatic policy social responsibility की क्या होनी चाहिए, और ये जो pragmatic policy है, जो realistic नीति है, इसके पीछे कौन-कौन से causes, reasons या factors हैं. That is what our answer is. Write down. Social responsibility of business. Social responsibility of business needs to be practiced. Needs to be practiced. And this is the need of the hour. समय की मांग है. And this is the need of the hour. आ मतलब समय. The following points highlight this. Highlight this. Point number one. Point number one. There will be threat of public regulation. There will be threat of public regulation in case social responsibility is not practiced. We are a popular democracy. A popular democracy. Ours is a welfare state. Ours is a welfare state. Hence, if a businessman goes by his very narrow self-interest, his very narrow self-interest, he is bound to lose. He is bound to lose respect and support. Respect and support. The government will also put more of regulations. The government will also put more of regulations. Next point. Labor movement. Labor movement. Labor is an active factor of production. Labor is an active factor of production, and they are the real contributors. And they are the real contributors to economic development. To economic development. of economic development होगा, of economic development. If a company
ma'am.
follows the policy of, if
Ma'am, after
the
economic development,
हाँ,
after
contributors
development.
to economic development बोले.
Okay, ma'am.
If a company follows the policy of, if a company follows the policy of hire and fire, if a company follows the policy of hire and fire, this will be followed by lot of protest. This will be followed by lot of protest. Next is rise in consumer
Lot of उसके बाद
consciousness.
में
Lot of protest. Withdraw. Protest. The next one is rise in consumer consciousness. Rise in consumer consciousness. Customer is the king. Customer is king. And we have a market-oriented economy. Market-oriented economy. Customer-oriented economy. Customer-oriented economy. It is the demand made by the customer. It is the demand made by the customer which helps a firm to prosper. There are several rights of consumer as well.
मैम
There
थोड़ा
are
स्लो
several, yeah,
थोड़ा स्लो बोलिए
eh, slow बोलें, okay. There are several
मैम इट इज द डिमांड से एक
rights.
बार रिपीट कर दीजिए तो
हाँ, please tell me the sentence, part of a sentence बताइए.
मैम इट इज द डिमांड मेड बाय
It is the demand made by the customer which helps a business, to prosper, which helps a business to prosper. Besides this, there are several rights of consumer. Rights of consumer. Business need not ignore this. Business need not ignore this. The last one. Development of managerial managerial, professional class, development of managerial, professional class. Nowadays, educated people. Nowadays, educated people with management degrees, with management degrees are managing the business house, are managing the business house. They